Hello and welcome to the channel, everybody. In this video I'm doing 2 months with the new Cammus C5. I got it just before release. Cammus kindly gave me this. Now if you haven't seen my build 1 of 1 video, you may notice it's now green. It's British Racing green. Look at this beauty. It's a little different, I'm not gonna lie, but why not? So anyway, this is the setup currently. As you can see, I am using this now with the simrigs.com pedals. And look, for the 2 months that I've been using this, I would say I've probably been sim racing a little more than usual, because I've unfortunately been sick about 3 times in the last 2 months. During that time, I was sim racing a bit. I've actually used the Cammus C5 a lot for full days. I've done some of the heavy duty testing, as you've seen in some of my previous videos, getting this quite hot, reasonably reliable so far. I haven't had a problem with this wheel yet. But anyway, let's jump onto the computer. Alright, here we are in AMS2, and I did not prepare this at all. I don't know if I've ever even driven in Spa in this game. I probably have. I didn't make a setup for it or anything. I just went straight into the race. I have no idea how this is going to handle. I might just let these guys... Oh, I'm in the Porsche. I did a bit of a pussy lift there. But just checking out the feeling on the force feedback over the curves. I didn't feel that curb too much there. Felt that one though. It is a bit hit and miss sometimes with AMS2, and even not just this wheelbase. I get that with ACC as well. Some curbs I feel, some I don't. Maybe it has to do with the wheel settings as well. Unlike, let's say, Fanatic, where there's quite a lot of recommended settings around, I don't find that too much with the Cammus, or maybe I'm just looking in the wrong location. So I've spent a bit of time just trying to get the feedback settings right. Oh, hard under the brakes there. Let's go back to first. The feedback is reasonable. A little bit dull in certain areas here and there. I think that might be partially the game itself, and not necessarily the wheelbase or the settings. Now, talking about iRacing though, that's a bit of a different kettle of fish, I find. Now, while I've kinda got my settings right for both ACC and AMS2, I don't for iRacing. I'm not 100% happy with the force feedback in iRacing. maybe I'm doing something wrong. To be honest, I don't spend a great deal of time in iRacing. I have a subscription for a month or two here and there. But it's not my go-to. And I mean, when I was sick, I was on iRacing a bit. The iRacing force feedback seems to be... Can I go around the outside here? Seems to be slightly more grainy. No, can't go. Am I going to get another unsportsmanlike conduct? No? Oh, good. In iRacing, it seems to be a little bit grainy, and I just can't... back end. I just can't seem to iron that little bit of graininess out while still getting really great force feedback. Well, probably lighten up those rears a bit. Oh, I've got you now. I've got you now. Oh, this is going to be late. Oh, I'm not giving you room either. B12. The graininess in iRacing seems to be the lack of an interpolation filter, or however you pronounce that. Okay, so I can't talk and drive. Let's just talk about me coming over from an 8 Nm CSL DD to this C5. Despite that being 8 Nm and this being 5 Nm, although it is constant and it peaks to 6 or 7, it doesn't feel like I've lost any power. And I don't feel that this should necessarily be compared to other 5 Nm bases, because with the C5, it's actually in the wheel, and you're getting force weight straight to the wheel, not through a shaft and then to the wheel. It's a bit different. I honestly compare this to an 8 Nm CSL DD, and I've actually been reasonably happy going from that 8 Nm CSL DD to the Cammus C5. I don't feel like I've really lost much, and what I have lost is probably just in the software. The software is lacking that full encoder support. It just doesn't work in some games the way that Cammus have set up the encoders, so that's something to be worked on. Obviously, it's maybe by the time you're watching this, that's already fixed. It's just little software stuff. In terms of some of the force feedback detail, as I was saying, in iRacing, the feedback does actually feel good in iRacing, and probably a bit more detailed than AMS2 and ACC, but it's just a little bit grainy, which is the lack of an interpolation filter. Probably. It's something in the software that I think Cammus is working out. But as I said, I drove iRacing for days, like literally entire days, and I dealt with it fine. When you're racing, you don't really even notice it. It's just when you really think about it. This is slightly grain. You can feel the grain. So yeah, it's, for the most part, it was good. I wouldn't necessarily have that put you off, because I think that's going to be fixed in the future anyway. A little bit less fine-tuned compared to the CSL DD, but slightly more overall forces. So, like, it's a win and a lose a bit here. But the 8 Nm CSL DD is obviously a bit more expensive. We're talking about a Cammus C5 that's kind of on par of price to more of a Logitech gear-driven wheel. So, I mean, in comparison to that, I mean, this Cammus C5 is way, way, way better. For that kind of price,
it's amazing. And that's why I've switched over from the Fanatec CSL-DD over to the Cammus C5 to do a bit of a more of a long-term review, because yeah, I do have that Fanatec CSL-DD there, and it's for the most part great. I haven't had a problem with it. Feedback's reasonable, being just an 8 Newton meter base. Obviously I'd like a little bit more towards the maybe 12 Newton meter or higher, but that's just what you get with this kind of price point. And I do feel by swapping from the CSL-DD to the C5, it's helped me a little bit with some of the overall forces, because it does feel a bit greater. On the price, if you go to cammusracing.com and buy anything at cammusracing.com, you can get 5% off with code STORM. Also helps the channel. I keep getting many comments down below in all my Cammus C5 videos. Shipping! Lots of shipping! Depending where you live, I think in Europe in particular, I think it's pretty expensive. But Cammus are actually working on that. They've actually told me that they've opened some new warehouses in I think France and Saudi Arabia, and there's a few other places, and Australia is about to be opened as well. So that is something that they're working on. So Cammus are still pretty new to the sim racing industry, so you got to give them a little bit of time with that. Things are happening. They're still working on software. They're still working on some of the warehouse stuff all around the world, and it's getting better with time. And I mean, for the very cheap price of $250 USD, even if you whack $100 shipping or something on there, it's still reasonable for that kind of price. There's not many competitors out there. I know Fanatec are very cheap, at least right now. They're on sale, but when they're not on sale, that's a different story. But if you really don't want to pay a lot of shipping, there's distributors all around the world that are slowly getting their hands on the C5. Cammus are slowly opening their own little warehouses all around the world. So that is fixing itself. You might just have to hold tight for a little bit. Keep checking their website. You never know. Now, in terms of the longevity on this unit, I haven't had a problem. As you can see in some previous videos here on this channel, I have tried to get it very, very hot under normal circumstances, running 100% force feedback and 100% force feedback in the game, and trying to heat it up and kill the thing if I can. And I've done more testing outside of that video as well, and it just doesn't die so far. And I've been on it longer than most out there currently. I haven't had an issue at the moment. I do think the build quality on this Cammus C5 is much better than the price suggests. As for the noise, when I take my headphones off, I do hear a little bit of noise. Just from the fan that's blowing into the back of the Cammus wheel. You could probably put your own fan there if you wanted to, but I just keep the normal one. I normally have headphones on anyway, so it doesn't really distract me personally. It's not loud enough to hear in another room. It's normally only just loud enough to hear when you're directly in front of it. Overall, will I be going back to the Fanatec CSL-DD? At this point, no. I'm just going to keep with the Cammus C5 for a bit longer, probably. Although I may have another wheelbase coming. I'm just waiting for confirmation on that. I think it's on its way. It might not be, but it might be. Obviously, just PC for the Cammus products at this point in time. I'm not going to go through all the details. Check out my review and all that. For if you want any more information, maybe you didn't see that video, you've just come into my channel for this one. So thank you,
Mwah!
Your view is appreciated.
Anyway, thanks for watching this video, everybody. Hit that like button if you liked it. Subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in the next video.